Today we're diving into Chapter 1 of Kai-hen Wizards, the brand new fantasy manga by Yellow Tanabe, creator of Kekkaishi. This first chapter is 69 pages long, packed with atmosphere, lore, and raw emotion. Let's walk through it page by page and see why this debut is already turning heads. The chapter opens with an ominous image, a hand clutching prayer beads, narration whispering, "A wizard once told me something. You are this country's treasure, one powerful enough to drive the world mad and bring nations to ruin. So to keep anyone from finding you, we must hide you." We then see a boy, bandaged and suspended in liquid, his wide green eye opening and closing. He looks less healed than restrained, trapped. Across the room sits Zemu, the wizard, calm, refined, composed. Surrounded by relics and weapons, he's framed as order and authority. Yet beside him, the bubbling, red-tinged chamber with that one staring eye screams chaos. Without saying a word, the art tells us everything. When the boy is freed, Zemu greets him with a calm smile, saying, "Congratulations, today marks the beginning of your new life." The boy is dazed and confused and asks bizarre questions, which emphasizes his amnesia even more, and asks what's all this red stuff. Zemu replies simply with roses. The boy docent understands and Zemu says, "So you don't even know what roses are, huh?" The boy then asks, "Where am I?" Zemu replies with, "You are at the lowest level of my castle. I am the master of Shikuten Castle, and my name is Zemu. I'm a wizard." He then asks the boy his name for the boy to then even question himself. "Who am I?" Zemu doesn't comfort him. Instead, he orders his serpent familiar, "Shimao, take him to bathe." Shimao, a mascot-like snake creature, gleefully drags him and tosses him into the water. It's comedic, but symbolic, a baptism into this strange new life. For a moment, the boy looks up at the sky through a window, filled with wonder. But it's cut short by a psychic intrusion. A woman's voice in his head screaming, "No!" And before he can react, Shimao drags in another recruit. This time a fiery, loud-mouthed girl who bursts into the scene yelling, "Nobody knows the meaning of the word gentle in here." The new character bursts onto the scene, loud, brash, and energetic. She's introduced mid-action, fighting against Shimao's grip. Her personality is instantly clear, hot-headed, impatient, and blunt. We get one of the most important sequences yet. The boy is questioned directly. What's his name? Where did he come from? And here's the reveal. He can't remember. The boy visibly strains, clutching his head, trying to recall. The lettering grows jagged, his face contorts, but nothing comes. This is the emotional core of the chapter so far. Memory loss isn't just a condition, it's an identity crisis. The boy is literally no one, and Tanabe illustrates this with pain and intensity, giving weight to his struggle. And then, an accidental slip. "You mustn't, Prince." The line is quickly brushed off, but it's the first direct hint at the boy's hidden identity. His wide-eyed reaction sells it. Even he doesn't know what it means, but it terrifies him. Identity becomes the focus. The boy is accused of being a human. The supporting character, Raichi, reveals her demi-human nature, proudly identifying herself as an anthro. The cultural clash emerges. Humans are rare here, maybe even despised, while demi-humans and magical beings dominate. Here, the story pivots towards mentorship. Raichi questions Zemu's motives. Has he decided to take an apprentice? The boy looks on, confused, while Raichi's suspicion reflects the audience's own. Why would Zemu, who supposedly hates humans, take in this child? Zemu takes control again. He insists the boy must be educated to survive in the castle and assigns Raichi to teach him. This page is fascinating because of how Zemu speaks. Calm, composed, but subtly commanding. He calls himself a great wizard with almost playful arrogance, yet the weight of his authority is unquestionable. Zemu lays down the rules. Memory loss might not just be a tragedy, but a kind of shield. He even implies the boy's forgotten past may protect him from some unbearable burden. But Zemu doesn't demand obedience. Instead, he offers a choice. Work in the castle, and he'll let the boy stay. This duality, freedom laced with control, perfectly captures Zemu's contradictions. Raichi labels the boy a temporary apprentice, a small phrase that both belittles and foreshadows greater things to come. Zemu quickly backtracks with his signature contrariness. "I'm not taking on an apprentice," he declares. The comedy is sharp, but underneath it lies something deeper: denial, maybe even fear. As the group leaves, Raichi explains Zemu's nature: selfish, contrary, unwilling to admit kindness, yet unable to abandon someone weak. Then comes the bombshell. Zemu is one of the wizards of the 7 colors. The boy, wide-eyed, processes the title. For us as readers, this is our first step into the larger mythos of this world, one that sounds vast, ancient, and mysterious. Raichi introduces the daily reality of castle life: cleaning, odd jobs, and chores. It grounds the story, contrasting the high-stakes mystery with simple labor, but even here, the lore creeps in. The boy reflects. Does that mean I owe that guy my life? While the phrase, "the wizards of the 7 colors," lingers ominously in the background. It's a clever structural move by Tanabe, mundane activity paired with existential stakes. Even while scrubbing floors, the boy is burdened with questions of debt, duty, and identity. The boy's inner monologue becomes central here. He wrestles with Zemu's words, about memory being both shield and curse. What stands out is his self-doubt. Could he really be both prince and apprentice? The contrast gnaws at him. His thoughts drift between wanting to remember and fearing what those memories might reveal. The castle itself becomes a character here. Strange doors, odd architecture, and impossible layouts remind us that this isn't a normal world. When asked about Zemu's true nature, Raichi drops another revelation. He's not just a wizard, he's an immortal, an inhabitant of the world of haze. The boy's stunned reaction, a god, adds both levity and wonder. For readers, this is where the lore blossoms. Suddenly, the hierarchy of mana, immortals, and demi-humans feels vast, hinting at a sprawling magical history. The lore expands further. Mana is divided into 7 colors, each governed by a wizard of the 7 colors. These aren't just mages, they're at the pinnacle of the magical world. Zemu, we learn, is the wizard of green mana. The imagery of him on a throne, shrouded in mystery, frames him as both king and enigma. This page is a turning point. The boy realizes he isn't just under the wing of a recluse. He's inside the orbit of one of the most powerful beings alive. The boy processes this new information: immortals, mana, the 7 colors. His naivety contrasts with Raichi's matter-of-fact explanations. But there's another layer. The boy glimpses a mysterious woman in passing, triggering his paranoia. He immediately bolts, leaving Raichi shouting in confusion. The mysterious voice returns, "Please return, Prince." It's the most direct confirmation yet that his forgotten identity is tied to royalty, and that others are actively searching for him. Chaos erupts as the boy flees. Raichi panics, shouting that this must be the cunning nature of humans. Shimao's name echoes through the halls as confusion spreads. For the boy, this is survival instinct. He isn't running from chores, but from destiny itself. For Raichi and the others, it's baffling. Shimao desperately tries to escape, searching for windows or doors. But the castle itself is against him. Every door is locked, every hallway loops in on itself. Shimao slithering out of the shadows. It's cartoonish, almost goofy in design, but framed with unsettling timing, the sudden "found ya" gives the scene horror comedy energy. Is this castle alive, or is it filled with living traps? The chase is on. The boy bolts down corridors as the striped creature Shimao hisses and lunges after him. Meanwhile, Zemu lounges elsewhere, utterly unbothered. His detached reaction, "he ran away?" only heightens the absurdity. To him, this chaos is expected. To the boy, it's life or death. The serpent-like creature Shimao coils through the halls. The boy barely dodges the snapping serpent while thinking, "Is this a demon beast?" But his instincts tell him otherwise. There's no supernatural aura. This raises a chilling possibility. This isn't a demon, but creations of the castle itself. Finally, he spots salvation, a window, but the mysterious voice returns, warning him, "You mustn't open the window, Prince. Something evil will come in if you do." The paranoia deepens. The boy defies the warning and breaks through. The reveal is stunning. The castle sits impossibly high, suspended in some vast, otherworldly sky. Even freedom turns hostile. As the boy clings to the ledge, Shimao smashes through glass behind him. The absurdity continues. The monster coughs about getting shards in its mouth, lightening the scene's horror with comedy. But the tension holds. The boy dangles over a bottomless void, scrambling along vines while the beast relentlessly pursues. He thinks to himself, "You gotta be kidding me." Back inside, Zemu's attendants debate. Raichi panics, insisting the boy has vanished like a shinobi assassin. Zemu, however, smirks knowingly. "This is my castle we're talking about." This is a critical detail. Zemu doesn't just live here, he is the castle's master. The castle shakes violently as the chase escalates. Zemu casually remarks that the boy will return in tears. Meanwhile, the boy is still fleeing, pursued no matter where he runs. The castle isn't just a maze, it's actively alive, bending its rules to keep him trapped. The boy grows frantic, trying to figure out why the creature won't give up. His thoughts land on the rose scent clinging to him, left from earlier. The idea that scent could mark him as prey adds an eerie, predatory edge. Then, collision. He crashes into a servant, scattering supplies everywhere. In his panic, he blurts apologies, but the chaos only draws more eyes to him. And then, another surreal twist. Different residents react strangely to the rose scent clinging to the boy. Some seem drawn, others unsettled. Meanwhile, the boy's pursuer smashes through walls, terrifying onlookers. Just when the boy thinks he's found another route, he's stopped by a guardian, a monk-like figure with a massive spectral tiger looming at his back. The guardian warns the boy, if anything happens to him, their own head will roll. In other words, this escape attempt isn't just dangerous for him, it's forbidden. We get our first quiet, emotional beat, a vow of loyalty. The guardian kneels, promising the boy lifelong protection, but also reminding him of his crushing burden. He must never be discovered by the outside world. The boy hesitates. His resolve softens as he remembers those words, but his instinct screams to keep running. He bursts into a new area, a vast garden hidden within the castle. But it's short-lived. Zemu, watching from afar, smirks. "He fell into my garden." Their argument escalates. The boy swears he never agreed to work here. Zemu insists he owes him everything, even shouting, "I took you in, so you're mine now." The tension spikes as Zemu loses patience. His magic finally manifests fully. Vines erupt from the earth, lashing towards the boy like living whips. It's our first real taste of Zemu's power. Not just authority over the castle, but command of nature itself. The boy's agility shines here too. Despite being just a human child, He dodges and leaps with astonishing skill. Even Zemu's followers are shocked. For a human, he's got some moves. The vines close in, surrounding the boy from all directions. The pace quickens. We feel his desperation as he realizes there's no escape. Then in a burst of instinct, he braces himself, and something strange happens. The boy bows his head slightly, apologizing. I know I'm being rude, but I have to get home. And then it happens. The energy warps into a swirling portal, a vortex tearing reality itself. The boy's wide, terrified eyes close out the page. Whatever he's awakened, it's not ordinary magic. It's raw, unstable, and powerful enough to shock even a wizard like Zemu. The tension hits its peak. The boy's power spirals out of control, swirling into chaotic vortexes. He screams to be sent back to her. The desperation in his voice ties back to the mysterious woman from earlier memories. Here, Zemu reveals the vast gulf of control between wizard and child. He invokes a spell with casual precision. Geometric sigils and flowing mana circles appear around his hand, crisp and mathematical compared to the boy's untamed vortex. The spell binds the boy in an almost grotesque way. Multiple conjured arms grab him, muffling his screams until he's reduced to a flailing prisoner. My magic is expensive. Now you'll have to pay me back. It's a chilling twist. His act of rescue doubles as a manipulation to ensure the boy's servitude. Later, the aftermath sets in. The maid reflects that Zemu had stamped the boy from the start, meaning his magic already had control over him. This introduces critical law. Wizards bind others with magical seals, usually formal marks on the nape of the neck. That the boy already bore one inside his force field hints Zemu orchestrated his fate long before he realized it. We return to quieter drama, the boy confined to his quarters, food brought to him under the guise of medical treatment. The maid explains the rules of the castle. No work, no food, except in special cases. More importantly, she outlines Zemu's philosophy: avoid wasting mana unless absolutely necessary. The boy begins questioning existence itself. Maybe I'm already dead? Is this the afterlife? His voice drips with uncertainty, as if doubting his very reality. The maid shoots back bluntly, "You're alive. Death exists here too." Alone in bed, the boy's mind drifts back to the mysterious woman from his fragmented memory. She's the only person he can recall clearly, her smile haunting him. His inner monologue, "Do I have to stay here forever?" The vision of the woman becomes more intimate. She appears beside him, whispering a secret promise. She tells him she'll train him in secret, teaching him techniques to escape by adulthood. The panels are tight, intimate, almost, and then comes prophecy. The woman's words declare him both treasure and seed of calamity. She warns that many will lose their lives because of him, yet insists the future remains in his hands. The dialogue drips with inevitability. This is your fate. You cannot escape it. The chapter slows to a heavy, intimate moment. Zemu presents the boy with ornate ceremonial robes, explaining he was wearing them when found in the garden. The detailed embroidery, dragons, symbols, authority marks, instantly sets these clothes apart. The boy's wide-eyed stare reflects dawning unease. These aren't just garments, they're proof of an identity lost to him. Zemu unravels the mystery. The symbols and dragon motifs mark the boy as a survivor of the flying country's royal family, a land erased from existence by the Kai-hen, the great world-changing calamity. The paneling lingers on his eye, widening with shock as Zemu delivers the verdict. Your country has vanished. Not a trace remains. The boy trembles, clutching the robes. Memories flicker, voices from the past calling him Prince. The weight of lineage presses down, but he rejects it, unable to accept. Zemu, in his typical cold detachment, only observes. He still can't accept it. And then the memories break through. The boy remembers his wizard, his protector, dying in front of him. The sequence explodes into surreal horror. His wizard's face decays into ash mid-scream, reaching for him before collapsing into nothing. The boy sees the moment again, his wizard crumbling into dust while he is powerless and watches. Finally, he breaks. Clutching Zemu's robes with tears streaming down his face, he gasps the truth aloud. My wizard died. The rawness of his grief is striking. For all of Zemu's aloofness, his silent expression here acknowledges the gravity of the confession. The boy spirals deeper into despair. Because of me. His voice cracks with guilt, blaming himself for his wizard's death. The focus shifts briefly to the castle staff, speculating on the boy's potential. One servant observes he cast a spell without even using a jewel, meaning he truly possesses mana. The chapter ends ominously. Servants warn of the wizard killer still on the move, a looming external threat. The final page lands with a heavy "to be continued," leaving readers caught between the boy's personal tragedy, Zemu's manipulative mentorship, and the wider, hostile world that has already erased nations. It's a perfect closer, emotionally raw, narratively expansive, and dripping with mystery. And that wraps up my full breakdown of Kai-hen Wizards Chapter 1. I know this one was a long dive, maybe a little longer than it needed to be, but I wanted to cover every detail since it's my very first review. If you think it could be shorter, or if you prefer this kind of in-depth format, let me know in the comments. I'd really love your feedback. Thanks so much for bearing with me, and if you enjoyed the video and want to see more manga reviews, don't forget to leave a like and drop a comment. It really helps out. I'll see you in the next one.